I'm going to go to the IP production. I'll do a little introduction of NEP. NEP is a global company. We are active in the UK. Visions is being rebranded NEP. There's 120 outside broadcast trucks, or mobile units, as my American colleagues call them. It's $750 million turnover, active in 65 countries: Australia, Scandinavia, UK, Ireland, US, Netherlands, Germany. So it's a big company, a lot of colleagues. But my story is all about NEP in the Netherlands. We are based at the Media Park in Hilversum, where all the broadcasters and facility providers are located, and a media-oriented business park. And on the Dutch market, we provide what we call glass-to-glass services. So we deliver cameras in the field or at the event location, RF connectivity, satellite downlinks. We have a lot of fiber. We are running a telco, NEP Connect. We are running 10,000 kilometers of our fiber in the Netherlands. We do post-production, galleries, play-out. We recently won a big play-out tender for Liberty Global. We do media asset management, archiving, and on distribution, we do video-on-demand platforms. We have our own software for that. Catch-up TV, and we are servicing a lot of Dutch customers, but also from very well-known international brands. We service on the Dutch market both commercial broadcasters like RTL Netherlands. They outsource their technical staff to us, but also the public broadcasters. So the subject was IP-based live production. What we saw on the Dutch market is that the market is very small. We are only 17 million people. Dutch people watch a lot of UK and US generated content, and the budgets for that content are way higher than the budgets on the Dutch market. But still, the Dutch audience expect the same quality level. And we have been figuring out how to do that. So we could build OB trucks with cheaper technology, or we could run them longer in time, or we would more frequently use the equipment. And that's the approach we took. So what we wanted to do is build an infrastructure where we could centralize a lot of the resources and use those per hour in several times during the day. That could be either connected to a studio locally with a gallery locally, or it could also be a sport or event location remote with a gallery either locally or remote. So on this schematic, you'll see two remote locations, one being a studio, one being a sport event location. But we also support this. So we have a remote gallery and a remote production. And a remote event location. And that's why we call the concept not remote production, or REMI, what in the US is being referred to. But we thought that cloud was better describing our utilization of all the central infrastructure for multiple customers multiple times a day and sharing that infrastructure. So what it is technically, we are running our equipment from a data center. It's our own data center. And we started this concept January 2015. And our challenge was to go as flexible as possible, very cost effective, but also be pragmatic. So we didn't want to build up a test platform, but we needed to do real production with it. And the challenge was to get that on air in December. So our core infrastructure is based on a hybrid of SDI signals, SDI baseband audio, baseband video, but also IP. And we try to go as much IP as possible, but there's still a lot of equipment that doesn't have any IP I/O monitors, at that time vision mixers. So there's a lot of stuff that still has SDI connectivity. So in that central data center location, we have our core signal handling, baseband, and IP. It's the location where our frames of the Labo audio mixers, the frames of the Kahuna vision mixers are. Real intercom, we use VSM because it's a very complicated setup, very dynamically, so we use a very complex VSM setup to handle all those pullable devices. In that central location, we have the graphic stations, EVSs, and we rent those EVSs, for instance, per channel per hour. So a single XT3 could be used for multiple production at the same time. Then on the remote location, all connectivity between the data center and the remote locations is over IP. So the audio stage boxes, the video stage boxes to get video back into the studio to the decor monitors. And also interconnectivity with the cameras is all IP. We don't do any compression in it. And as we don't do any compression and we have our own fiber optic, we can multiplex multiple 25 gig interfaces over a fiber pair. And we can run around a 12 camera setup without any compression at a remote location. For the studio crew, this all works as they are used to. The only thing they remark to us that if there's an issue, there's people with laptops coming into the studio and not guys with video cabling and soldering stuff. So it's IT guys that need to support them. And the other thing what we saw was with the cameras over IP, the camera is now a network device. So what we saw the first times we were using this infrastructure in December, that the camera cables were marked camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. And our operational people expected that if you plug in a camera on the cable of camera 1, it would be camera 1. But now the camera is a network device. It doesn't matter in what socket you plug in the camera, it will always be what it is configured to be. So operationally, people had to learn about that. Today, I think we are approaching the 350th broadcast we did from this infrastructure, learning every day how to optimize it. What we did with the cameras, so we use IP interconnectivity with the studio, so the studios don't have any BNCs or stuff on the wall, just optical sockets for with IP switches on the other end. We separated the base stations, the CCUs, from the cameras. So the base stations are in a pool in the data center, and the camera is at the location. And we wanted to do that because we wanted to drive down the value of the equipment that was needed in the studio, because bringing cameras and all the equipment that is required with it in the studio to another studio is something we didn't want. We wanted to share the equipment that's in the data center and not offering challenges in a logistical sense. Gallery, either local in our facility on the media park or remotely in flight cases, or what we call OB Light. In that gallery is everything you expect from a normal gallery. And as we utilize the equipment multiple times a day, we could afford having a really high-end setup with OLED monitors and high-end infrastructure. The connectivity between the gallery and the cloud production is also over IP. So if it's remote in situation, the right situation, the gallery is connected together with the camera signals and audio signals over IP connectivity. And in the gallery, there's room, in the remote gallery, there's room for the guy operating the vision mixer, the director, the assistant director. They have intercom, they have a regular video wall, they have everything in a normal gallery, but all the equipment and the rest of the crew is not there, but is remote at our central facility. So the shaders are there, audio guys there, and the technical equipment is there. So we only use the central technical equipment for the time the show runs at that remote location. What we saw with OB trucks, that in our case in the Netherlands, they most of the time drive off in the morning, very early. They go to a site, they do a recording, and in the night they come back. and then that whole bunch of equipment created an hour of content. While in this concept, we could use the same equipment multiple times a day, creating multiple hours of content. We did a lot of sessions with the directors, a lot of work groups, and we came to an atmosphere that we hired an architect to make it a sort of a day hotel, a sort of boutique hotel environment. So it's a very pleasant atmosphere to work in. And what the most frequent heard comment was, it is so silent there because there's no equipment there, there's no ventilators. It's just remote control panels. And also the comment was that the gallery becomes a central place where everything happens again, because in a small OB truck, they're always quite disturbing. If you enter that room, air comes in, light comes in. So having a gallery has a lot of advantages as well. Audio. We chose Labo for audio because of their IS67 implementation. At the studio floor or the event location, we take in the audio signals, line level or microphone level, convert it at the floor to IS67, run it to our data center, and there we can assign one of the audio mixers that's in our pool. Again, a quite normal setup. Then shading. What we saw, because we don't have latency, or only the latency of light traveling through fiber optics, which is 200,000 kilometers a second, people don't notice if they are shading at the center location with a remote camera or that they are on site. So using this central location, we could have our shading people work on multiple shows a day instead of driving to a location, parking there, spending a night in a hotel perhaps. So it helps in the complexity. Also there we created a nice atmosphere for them to work. So in total, we get to this infrastructure, and there's a lot of vendors in here involved, a lot of equipment, and it needs to be very dynamic. So we need a tool like VSM to be able to control it by the hour. But what we also need to do is monitor all the pieces of that equipment, because if the equipment is utilized more frequent, more tightly scheduled, chances to fix issues are way shorter. And we already had a lot of experience running a very large video post-production platform, 250 edit systems. And for monitoring that infrastructure, we created our own monitoring tool. We used to have an off-the-shelf monitoring tool, but it gave too much information to our operators. So we created our own monitoring platform. We call Grand Central Monitoring. And in the interface of that, our customers, we provide this very open to our customers, so they can see what issues they have or we are having. They see network traffic stuff. This is a view for Fox Sports. We are running a big platform with EVS-Cast and OB trucks for them. And we're monitoring that whole infrastructure. So behind this, there's, I think, 1,000 servers running. And we're making it very simple. They can watch it on web, on a smart TV, on their iPhone. So they have a good overview. And we use that same technology to monitor our IP infrastructure. So a cameraman can have on his iPhone see if the IP connectivity of his camera with the central infrastructure is okay, or that the connector is dirty, for instance, so he loses dBs in the optical connectivity. It's a quite complex platform. We've been very successful. We are currently expanding the amount of galleries and expanding our data center capacity at this moment. Our marketing guys have created a clip that helped me not to go to all the customer meetings to explain what it's all about. And perhaps it will explain a bit on what I just touched.
It takes a lot of resources to produce a TV program. Wouldn't it be great if you only had to use the equipment you need, that you didn't have to have all the technology and equipment 24 hours a day in your studio when you only need to broadcast for 1 hour a day? If you didn't need all the additional production costs, from travel time, setup and clearing up time, parking costs, complicated logistics to catering. And if you could do it all in a much more environmentally friendly way, would that make life simpler? Welcome to the answer. Cloud production, a unique IP solution for directing the best television productions. Now, most of your vital equipment is in one central space in our data center, connected directly to our directing, audio, and shading suites, and to the studios, and with the best technical support right next to you. Just the essential crew and equipment are on location. You can decide what you need. You can direct from the studio or from our central direction suites in the media park. Because all the essential elements are connected by our high-speed fiber optic network, there's no delay, including the connection to the extensive range of post-production services and Live Center. Efficient, flexible, environmentally friendly, better value productions for the highest quality, 4K or HD. Welcome to a revolution in television production. Cloud production. A creative solution by NEP.
Okay, well, apparently I do a lot of like this, but okay, that was the description of what we are doing. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Any questions from the floor? Getting very close to the drinks, I can tell. Oh, excellent. The microphone's just coming.
Frederick Scott, Skyline Communications. Can you just briefly highlight the role of VSM and the role of your own tool within your own setup?
VSM controls all the broadcast equipment we are running. So controlling which camera is assigned to which base station, the video infrastructure, up to the lights in the gallery, it controls. Our monitoring solution is monitoring all the IT infrastructure that's around it. So the Juniper network, it's built on a 100 gig Juniper network. But also the power supplies and all the frames. So in our complete infrastructure, we are monitoring 230,000 points every 10 seconds. So that is up to the diesel level in our power generator, temperature levels in the data center, but also power supplies of traditional baseband video equipment and also processors on servers.
Well, thanks for that. One, I guess, kind of obvious question. Have you been able to do any objective overall cost analysis of this in terms of, because part of the objective, as you said, is to save costs.
Yeah, but what we see is that the cost saving is possible by avoiding hotel cost of crew in hotels and traveling and all that stuff.
So have you been able to sort of do that in a total cost yet to sort of evaluate what are the level of the benefit?
It's not easy to tell.
Quite. Yeah. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, but it's very dependent on the sort of production.
Yeah. And the network, you said that some of it's achieved by having a good quality fiber network. How well sort of installed is that across presumably the Netherlands in this case to be able to make that possible?
Yeah, we started our own telco in 2005.
Right.
So we started with a fiber optic ring in Hilversum, connecting all the broadcasters and production houses. And later on we expanded to all the event locations. So we are running 10,000 kilometers of dark fiber, touching all the event locations, or hardly all the event, nearly all the event location in the Netherlands.
So it satisfies your needs for the moment in that respect.
And it helps us. We don't need to do any compression. So for its latency, stuff like that.
Obviously, a big win with remote production. Presumably, maybe less benefit, but it must still be there from a studio point of view to be able to have the data center sharing resources amongst studio. Have you moved to that step yet with studios as well, as opposed to, or in addition to remote production?
All our studios are connected to this infrastructure.
So that's part of it as well.
We used to operate OB trucks parked in front of the studio.
All right.
And now we don't need to do that anymore.
Oh, very good. No more wait, please wait for the microphone, and Peter, thanks.
I don't know if this, yes it is. Peter Sykes from Sony. I'm just interested in how you tackled the acquisition of the new skills that are required to run this operation. Did you have the necessary people in-house? Do you have to retrain them or acquire
I think that's the most challenging part of this. Buying the equipment is not just a matter of having the money. But we switched to being an IT company, I think 8 years ago. So we have 150 IT specialists supporting this 24/7. And we started with that on our post-production, media asset management, file-based workflow service offerings. And now that's expanded to the live production. But that's the largest challenge. So we now have, we already had ITIL processes, so we have a change board for many years now. But now we have in live production also a sort of change board mechanism to avoid people making changes in one studio affecting other parts of the infrastructure.
Okay. Any other? Well, please, thanks, Peter, one more time. Very good. Thank you.